We're going to be doing a full review and deep dive of the new in 2024 John Varvatos XX Intense EDP. So if you're not familiar with the branding of the John Varvatos line, including their fragrances, they are a brand that tries to be a little bit of edgy and it's based on rock and roll. And to me, this fragrance aligns with their brand quite well, at least as far as presentation goes. If you take a look at the presentation, you can see that it's basically a black bottle that's been coated in some sort of red lining. It almost resembles like something like an alligator skin. Essentially, they took the John Varvatos XX black bottle and put a red design over it. And of course, it has the XX emblem on the front like all of the other XX fragrance line. So the brand describes this fragrance that opens with bright freshness that's grounded by sweet floralcy, blended with woods that gives it a sensual warmth and easy addictiveness. So this fragrance is supposed to have a sophisticated tone by day and a sensuous signature after dark. The main notes that they highlight are electric red ginger flower accord, tonka beans, and cedarwood. The full note breakdown is bergamot, red ginger, verbena, geranium, damascone, cyclamen, cedarwood, roasted coffee, and tonka bean. All right, so now to the important part. How does this fragrance smell? Does it match up with the John Varvatos brand? So for me personally, I have a lot of John Varvatos fragrances, and this is one of my favorites. I've had this for about 4 or 5 days now, and I've worn it pretty much every single day just to get a really solid understanding of what this fragrance is all about. So when I first spray it on, I get a lot of bright, fresh bergamot with some sweet, fruity notes. They're more like a red fruit note, kind of like a red apple that's prominent in the original XX. Overall, it's very fresh, slightly fruity, and a little bit sweet. So as the fragrance has time to settle down and we get in more to the mid and base notes, it turns into more of a fruity, slightly spicy fragrance with a little bit of woods and vanilla underneath. So what I really like about this fragrance is sometimes it comes off very fresh and spicy, and other times it comes off as being a little bit warm and spicy. So it does have roasted coffee beans as one of the notes in here. It is not a prominent coffee note. I certainly don't smell it at all. Having said that, if I never looked at the note breakdown and after wearing it a few times, someone said, hey, you know that has a coffee note in it, I would probably say that makes a lot of sense. There's a little bit of something warm underneath all that fresh and spiciness that I can't quite put my finger on, but I could certainly see how it's a coffee note that would help bring that out. If you're looking for a fragrance with a coffee note, this is not going to be what you need. Overall, to me, this is one of the better John Varvatos releases in the last 4 or 5 years. Having said that, this is not an original or new type of fragrance. It definitely does not have that wow factor as being some new innovative fragrance. This is fresh, is sweet, is aromatic, is slightly spicy and warm. It's somewhat mass appealing. To me, it's very much in line with a couple of the recent new releases that I've gotten, such as Polo 67 and Hugo Boss The Scent Elixir. I'm not saying it smells like those fragrances, but it falls in line with the fresh, fruity sweetness and that aromatic lavendin that I get from those fragrances. So what's the performance like? As far as performance, John Varvatos is widely known to not have great performance for the overwhelming majority of their fragrances. So this one is an EDP concentration. I do get a better performance out of this fragrance than almost all of my other John Varvatos fragrances. Having said that, this is not an eternal or nuclear style fragrance. I get around 6 hours of longevity out of this and fairly average projection. While that's not amazing performance, it is much better than almost all of the other John Varvatos fragrances that I have. Overall, I'm very pleased with this purchase. I'm a huge fan of John Varvatos. This is something that you can go out to a department store and sample before you buy. Definitely recommend that. For me, this was a blind buy straight from the department store. But then again, I'm a huge John Varvatos fan, so I didn't have a lot of worries about that. If you like reviews on new releases, please hit that like and subscribe button.